Hello, hello, ladies. Good evening. How is everybody doing today? Okay. Good. Happy to hear that, Neriman. Amazing. All right, ladies. Today is actually our last teaching class. So today we're going to talk about mindful eating. Hi, Dina. And then that's it. From now until March, the last day before I eat. That's March 26th or March 27th, one of those 2 days. It's a Thursday. From now until then, all our classes, with the exception of the Ramadan preparation class, they're all just going to be Q&As. So today's the last day. I'm actually going to be teaching you something, all right? So just a quick reminder that we only have sessions Sundays and Tuesdays from now until then. The other thing that I need to let you know, so I've told some of you, and maybe I've said it in one of the calls, is I am traveling to Tokyo. That's where my daughter lives with her husband. My daughter is about to have a baby. So I'm traveling to be with her in 2 weeks. So, and I will be there for 2 months. So obviously that means that the last month or so of our program, I will be on a different time zone. So we will have to change the time of the meeting. So it's Tokyo is, I think, 7 hours ahead. I think it will still be 7 hours ahead when I go. So the meeting will have to be 7 or 8 p.m. Tokyo time, which will mean it would have to be at noon or 1 p.m. Cairo time. But I will let you know. There's also one other day because I just booked my flight and I think that is on the day of one of our calls. So I will put all this in the group as needed. So one of those days, it's either a Sunday or a Tuesday. I will reschedule that call for a Monday or a Wednesday to make up for that week, but I will let you know when that's going to be. All right. So just some quick housekeeping here. Sundays and Tuesdays until March 26th, starting February 25th, we're in a different time zone because I'll be in Tokyo. So your calls will be 12 or 1 p.m. Cairo. And one of the calls that week of February 24th will be rescheduled to another day. Chances are high that's going to happen. All right. Wonderful. Okay, ladies, let's get to it. Today we're talking about mindful eating. And mindful eating is the last phase of this process. We enter the program with lots of food addictions. We have lots of biochemical addictions in our body, from processed foods, processed sugars, caffeine, junk food, processed food, all these foods that don't come from nature but have been processed or denatured in some way, created by the food industry for the most part, where they create addictions in us, where you might not be aware of it, but they create biochemical addictions. So when you come into the program, the first thing we have to do is detox you of all of addictions. We detox to heal, we detox for reversing symptoms and all of that, but that process requires removing all of the foods that you were addicted to so that you can start to identify what is the difference between a physical hunger and an emotional hunger, because it's very difficult to do that as long as your addictions are the ones running the show. You don't know if you're eating because it's a sugar, your brain needs a sugar hit, or you need a caffeine hit, or you're missing one, so your body's calling for it. You don't know if that's what it is. You don't know if it's a deficiency because you're not getting enough vitamins. Maybe you're not getting enough magnesium. Maybe you're not getting enough vitamin C. You don't know what it is because you've never been taught that a physical deficiency can manifest and you can identify it. So most of the time we confuse our physical deficiencies and our physical hunger with emotional hunger. So once we cleared out the addictions, for the most part, Then you start to understand when your body's getting physically hungry, what it's actually asking you for. And then the next layer after that was actually looking at our emotions and looking at the deeper root causes of what triggers our emotions and understanding the thought process with the emotions, so that then you can really get clear. Am I eating because I'm bored, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm irritable, or am I eating because I actually went 6 hours without food and my body's actually physically hungry? This is the stage all of you are at right now, or you should be at right now. And we're using the thought model to connect more to our thoughts, to understand the thoughts that trigger our feelings. Tomorrow, you're going to get a post in the group, a chart that shows you exactly how to differentiate between physical hunger and emotional hunger. And today you had your first journal prompt. So the whole idea behind doing the work to figure out your emotions and your thoughts and the root causes of those. So the same way we were working on reversing and healing the root causes of your physical issues, we have to dig deep and find the root cause of your emotional issues. And today in the group, I shared a post in the morning, and I'll be doing that every day for the next, until Ramadan. So at least the next month or so, I'll be sharing a journal prompt with you, something that gets you to think about one part of your life, gets you to, zero in on a tip, on some kind of an emotion that you might be going through. The journal prompt might not be relevant to you on the day that I post them. So I recommend that you go back and look at them periodically so that you can think about them. You don't need to go and write a big long essay unless you feel like you need to, something that really, you feel like it really hits home for you. But the idea is for you to start to connect some of the dots between what happens in your life, what goes on in your relationships, what parts of your primary food are missing, and start to connect that with how you consciously or subconsciously relate to food and eat. That brings us to today's phase, and this is the last part, technically, of understanding how we eat, which is mindful eating. Mindful eating is what we are aspiring to. When you've gotten rid of the addictions, you are more or less aware of your thoughts and your thought process and what triggers them and how it relates to your emotions. And then you understand your emotions. You're starting to see what emotional triggers are the ones that have you run to your comfort food. And you're becoming, quote unquote, mindful. Mindful eating doesn't mean perfect eating. It doesn't mean you never go and have food that's not optimally healthy, never again. That's not what it is at all. Mindful eating is literally being very conscious of what you're eating and why you're eating it most of the time. As long as and a lot of you are starting to do that. So a lot of you are actually starting with the kinds of questions you're asking me on the group. It's very evident, whether you're aware of it or not, you are becoming very mindful. You're starting to connect the dots that, you know what, I ate this, but I haven't eaten it before. And when I ate it, my stomach reacted this way. I am eating a lot of fruits. I'm eating a lot of dates. I'm eating a lot of apples throughout the day. And yes, it could be because I'm stressed at work. It could be because I'm bored. It could be because I'm using it as a distraction. So if you're finding yourself, whether with or without my help, making those connections, this is what mindful eating is. It is about not letting the food control you, not letting the situation control you, but it's the opposite. You are the one in control of whatever food is in front of you. You're either making it, or if you're invited out or you see it, you're making the conscious decision. And you're the one who's aware that even if you choose, you make a very conscious decision to eat the pizza or the cake or the junk, you're tying it back to a stressful day. You're tying it back to, you know what, I forgot to eat all day and I didn't prep food at home and I'm too tired to make food today, so I'm just going to have this. This is a much higher level of awareness and consciousness when it comes to your body than just running and getting your chips and chocolate every time you're angry without understanding why, or just ordering food every single day when you come home from work and you're not conscious of it, why. So it is not about being perfect. So let's be very clear with this. It is about being very aware. and being very clear on the decisions you make around food. And what happens with this is, and we started doing this when we broke out of the addictions, and you start to get yourself out of the cycle of yo-yo dieting, because the more you do this and the more you're aware of your food choices, the more you trust yourself with food. With dieting, and maybe you are aware of this or not, if you've ever done a diet where you've restricted yourself just to lose weight, there's an element of distrust, right? And that's why we call it cheat days, right? Distrust and cheat go hand in hand. So now what we're doing is rebuilding that relationship between you and food so that you trust yourself with food, regardless of the type of food that you're eating. So you've identified root causes of physical issues. You're identifying root causes of emotional eating. When that happens, and when you trust yourself, and when you understand, right, I know that when I have my celery and my smoothie in the morning and my veggies, I'm feeding myself incredibly well. I'm feeding my cells, I'm healing myself. And I know that if I go and have a pizza or chocolate, I'm not healing myself. I know that. I'm not kidding myself, but I'm building my body and building my reserves and building up my internal terrain to be strong enough that it can cope with a pizza every now and then, so that you can enjoy the pizza or the chocolate without guilt. When you're dieting, you always feel guilty about these foods. When you're healing, there's no guilt anywhere in the process. You are healing your body and creating a new relationship with your body. So when you don't feel guilty around the food that you're eating, regardless of what it is, that reduces stress. When you remove the biochemical addictions, you lower your cortisol, that reduces stress. When you are aware of the emotions and you don't run and have your chocolate at the first time that this happens to you, that reduces stress. And when you do all of those things together, you rediscover a relationship with food where you trust yourself with food, where you can enjoy food guilt-free, where you can get out of the cycle of yo-yo dieting. You're not counting calories anymore. You're not jumping on the scale anymore every time you eat something that you know is not good for you. You start to make peace with yourself and with food. And that is mindful eating. Clear, ladies? Any questions? And then I'm also going to include some posts about mindful eating. They'll be sort of mixed in between, the morning post, emotional eating and mindful eating in the next month. Sally. Hi, then. After my juicing day, I craved pasta the next day and ended up eating it, followed by pizza the day after. This made my stomach feel bloated and heavy. I feel like I've lost my track, but now I'm back on track today. I'm not sure whether I should repeat the 9-day detox plan or try clean eating or hybrid phase. What do you recommend? On a positive note, I wanted to share that I've lost weight and my sleep has improved. Alhamdulillah. All right, so perfect example of, well, I do have to ask you, I mean, it is an example of mindful eating for sure, because she's connected the fact that her stomach felt bloated and heavy. Of course it would. After pasta and pizza, you've got the wheat in there, you've got the dairy in there, it's the processed foods in there. It is very, very difficult for the body to break these foods down. But let me ask you this. The next day, when you had the pasta, was it sort of, if you can recall earlier situations when you craved pasta or pizza or anything like this, did you make a very clear conscious decision, I'm going to have this today? Or was it sort of one of those, we call them sort of blind rage moments where it overtook you and you just ate it, or you ordered it and you didn't really think about the process as you were doing it? Because this is really important to identify. Honestly, yes, I was aware. That's great. That is actually what I was hoping you would say. So being aware is very important. The next question to ask yourself was it a emotional need? Usually when we look to what we call comfort foods, very rarely when we have an emotional trigger do we go for salad or do we go for apples or dates? Some of you have started to do that, but initially in the process, or when you're not aware of the process, obviously you don't go for these foods. So it's very important to identify, okay, I made a conscious decision, but did I make that decision because I needed the food as a distraction for an uncomfortable emotion? So that's the next thing to ask yourself. If yes, then identify the emotion, identify the situation, do right away, like this is the exercise to do. Identify the emotion, identify the situation, do a thought model on it so that your brain starts to reprogram so that if you find yourself in that situation again, you can start to take a different step. Oh, Sally. Yes, I felt that it was emotional and I was aware that my stomach will be loaded, but I felt that I'll enjoy this pasta with sauce. I felt that I miss it. So do you can you don't have to share with us, but can you pinpoint the emotional trigger? Was it a person, a situation, a conversation, something that as long as you're able to pinpoint that, that's in the event that it might happen again. So you need to be able to preempt it for later on. Because even though, yes, mindful eating is about just being really aware, and it's not about being perfect all the time, but there is a fine line where you don't just let yourself, whenever an emotion overtakes you, to say, oh, I'm going to be very mindful of this now, and I'm just going to have the pizza and the pasta, and then find yourself falling back into this habit, right? So you're not really unlearning the old pattern and relearning a new pattern in that case. Because a lot of women will tell me, I think I've said this before, I don't want to follow any programs right now. I don't want to do anything right now. I'm very stressed with my life right now. So I just eat mindfully. So whatever my body's telling me to eat, I just eat. And that's what I'm doing. So then I say, okay, what's your body asking you to eat? And so her body's asking her to eat chocolate and to eat every day, right? Pasta and takeout and sandwiches and chips. But because she feels she's doing it mindfully, she thinks that's okay. She thinks that's because she's reached a level of awareness where she's listening to her body. But you can't listen to your body when you've got physical biochemical addictions, because that's not your body speaking, that's the addiction speaking. And you can't really listen to your body if you haven't identified emotional triggers. So there is that fine line. It can't just be, oh, I'm just going to listen to my body and eat whatever I want, and then ignore the signals and not dig deeper into what the information that your body's trying to give you is actually saying. So this is a great learning opportunity, Sally, right? A huge learning opportunity. You felt you were emotional, you knew what the consequences were going to be, but you did it anyway. So the question is, if the same circumstances present themselves again, are you going to do the same thing again? Honestly, no. And why not, Sally? Besides the physical discomfort. I mean, the physical discomfort will usually be the reason why. But in terms of processing the emotions, what will you do differently? Because in order for you to say no and then have that no be successful, whatever point further on down the line when this might happen again, in order for you to be able to implement your no, you have to understand the emotion and you have to know how you're going to process it differently. Because this time you processed by eating the pizza and the pasta. How are you going to process it differently next time? By the way, I've noticed that meal preparation plays a significant role in our food choices and decisions. When we take the time to plan and prepare our meals in advance, it helps to make healthier options. 100%. I told you, ladies, at the beginning of the program, your success 95% of your success, if not more, depends on preparation. 100%. Anybody else have any questions or comments or shares today? What do you think, Dana? Shall I repeat? Oh, I didn't answer that part for you, did I? I would say, yeah, after doing pizza and pasta, when that happens, ladies, so there's an overload that happens on the liver, okay? So if you go straight into deep detox, that might be a bit shocking to the liver and it might bring out some more deep detox symptoms. So whenever this happens, I would say you can do the 9 days with the 3 days of clean eating first. Dina, is it normal to feel that I have Dina, your sentence is missing, I think, some words. Irini, then I have a question. I was doing the clean eating. I wasn't doing the cucumber juice and the smoothie and lemon water in the morning. The rest of the day, I eat fruits, veggies, protein. Is that okay? Okay, so no, Dina, just 1 second. So Irini, I'm trying to. So you were doing clean eating. So what were you?
Sorry. Yes, hi,
What were
hi,
you?
Dana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I was doing good, thank you. I was just doing the cucumber and the smoothie at the morning.
Okay.
Okay. And the rest of the day, when I feel hungry, I just take like an apple, vegetables, and at lunch, I just take like some vegetables with protein. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Or
Yeah. No,
because
that's
as you know,
totally
we're
fine.
going to fast anyway. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. No, this is
Okay.
totally fine. I just want to make sure you're eating enough. I always, when somebody tells me I'm just, you know, during the day, I'm just eating fruits and veggies, automatically my brain goes to like you had one apple and one cucumber, right? So I just want to make sure you're eating enough.
I'm doing my best to like to have everything included in the salad, like
Okay.
um yeah, all the greens. I'm doing my best. Yeah,
Okay.
but as you know, we're going to fast.
Yes.
So I was like putting some protein in my meals.
Okay.
So I was wondering if that's okay. Like I'm doing it every day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. And how many fruits are you eating?
I put in the morning the smoothie, the two bananas, small
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah.
and strawberries,
Okay.
mangoes,
Okay.
and during the day I have like one orange, one apple,
Okay.
and that's it. Do you
Okay.
want me to put more?
I
Yeah,
would eat more. If you're just sort of eating
and
like,
I take the 4 dates, of course.
yeah, if you're just eating like you're not eating like necessarily a
Mhm.
full meal, if you're just sort of eating a little bit here and a little bit there, then I would make sure that you're eating a lot more
Mhm.
fruits than that. You can easily double up on
Okay.
the amount of fruits.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
And also
Mm.
then I have I have another question
You're
about
cutting up. You're cutting up for me,
the
Irene.
vitamins.
Can you
Do
repeat?
I have to I take in the morning I eat all the vitamins.
Sorry.
I'm still taking the Altroxine. I take it the Altroxine for
Yeah.
the thyroid.
Yeah.
Vitamins. I used to take like the vitamin D and all of that. I was trying to like as you said to sit like 30 minutes in the sun, take them back. Do you recommend to continue as I am?
Okay, so I actually didn't hear most of your question because the internet was very choppy. Can you please either put your question in the chat for me, put it in the chat, or put it in the group for me?
Okay,
Yeah. If there's a question about,
okay, will do.
I
Thanks.
heard something about vitamins and in terms of continuing. If I haven't seen the ingredients in your vitamins yet, Irini, please take pictures of the list of ingredients on your vitamins and show it to me on the group so I can help you with those. Okay, Dina was saying morning sickness. So you're still getting some nausea in the morning, Dina. Is that what you're saying? Every morning? Okay, wait for her to answer. I'll look at the other questions. Riem, does the deep detox heal H. pylori? 100%, but you need to be patient with it. Could take a couple of months, but yes. Hind, should I do a thought model on fear of weight gain? Of course. Of course. You could do a thought model on any thought, any circumstance, anytime. I started questioning myself today what weight gain represents to me. I can't lie. I feel a bit insecure and I'm afraid I'd lose control. That's the thought right there that you do. I feel a bit insecure and I'm afraid I'd lose control over my weight. That's the thought that you're going to work on. I know this is not true. It's the old programming, but that's still the thought. So this is the thought that you reframe. This is the thought you reprogram. I feel insecure and I'm afraid I'd lose control over my weight. Sally, I'm struggling with the juicing day for the second time. I have tried and then it ends with me messing the whole day and anything that will come on my way. Potentially you might not be drinking enough, Sally. So are you sure you're having enough? You are able to have as many juices as you want. So if the juices on the plan are not sufficient, you can have the same juice over and over and over again as much as you need. So either that, or you might be leaving too much time between the juices. Or this could be an emotional thing at the end of the day. Definitely one of those. But first thing to do is to make sure you're having enough. Don't let yourself go hungry. And as a lifestyle, when we clean eat, do we also have to eat every 2 hours? Well, no, because if clean eating is going to involve animal protein, then you physically can't. With animal protein, you need to wait at least 3 or 4 hours after a meal with animal protein before you can eat again. We do the 2 hours during deep detox because we think of it sort of as a medicinal dose. In order to keep the healing going, you need to be giving it the proper healing prescription every 2 hours. Riem, I messed up for only one day. I ate sushi, only 2 pieces, and was vomiting at night. So should I repeat the 9 days? Salemtic. This is the issue with sushi. It does carry the risk of bacteria, which could equal food poisoning. So what I would do, yes, I would definitely repeat the 9 days, starting with the 3 days of clean eating to ease your liver back into it. Rini will do, yes, please. Dina, almost every morning. So if this still happens every morning, what triggers it in the morning is either or both the lemon water and the celery juice. These are they go straight to the liver to flush the liver out first thing in the morning. And to the extent that your liver is full of toxins and it releases a lot of toxins very fast, this is what causes the nausea. So in order to relieve that a bit, because that's nobody wants to feel that every morning, decrease the amounts of lemon water and celery juice. So I would go back to the smallest amounts, like just 100 milliliters of lemon water and 100 milliliters of celery juice, and see how that makes you feel. And let me know, and we'll take it from there. Magnesium stearate is a synthetic filler, and it's in almost every single supplement you're going to find. They'll tell you it's safe. They tell you lots of things are safe, but if you're taking a tablet once every 3 months and it's got magnesium stearate in it, no big deal. But when you're taking a supplement and you're taking it every single day, magnesium stearate it is a synthetic. And when they tell you, sometimes doctors will tell you don't take vitamins for too long because they're not good for your liver. It's because of ingredients like magnesium stearate. It's because of the synthetics. Is panthenol safe? So panthenol is sort of the synthetic version of peppermint. So it's synthetic. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's unsafe, but it's sort of like the fake version of the essential oil. And any product that contains glycerin is unsafe. Yeah, glycerin again is one of those things that's made to feel like it's actually safe, and it's in a lot of beauty products, but glycerin is highly, highly, highly processed, right? And has long-term effects of actually, instead of they tell you it's good for your skin, softens the skin, blah, 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 but long-term, it shrivels up your skin cells, long-term. Sally, sorry, then I got confused. Are you suggesting that I should repeat the 9-day detox? Yes. So repeat the 9 days, because some of you are repeating the like the deep detox, but not doing the 3 days of clean eating. I want you to do the clean days, the 3 days of clean eating, Sally. Add the protein and then eliminate it as before and end with the juice day. Exactly. Hind, my juicing day is after tomorrow, but I'm able to do it in that freezing weather. Tell me about it. Do a soup day. So juicing day can also be a soup day. So you, instead of in this very, very cold weather, if you feel like you just can't do it, have 2 or 3 different types of soup and have soups throughout the day. Nariman, I've become so mindful about the late eating. I feel so bad if it's after 7. Well, what are you eating after 7, Nariman? Habiba, I'm just confused about how I felt less hungry during the 9-day detox than I do now while following the clean eating guide. I haven't had animal protein since the first time we did the 9-day detox. Could this be the reason behind my hunger? I'm pescatarian. I don't have a lot of options. So, Habiba, you're saying you were not hungry during the 9 days. So when you were doing just fruits and vegetables, you weren't hungry, correct? Is that what you're saying? And now that you're doing clean eating, okay. So when you added the animal protein, it made you more hungry?
Hi, Dana. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. No, I didn't add an animal protein since like the first week we started the detox. So
Okay.
I'm a bit confused. Like, why am I so hungry all
So
of a
what?
sudden?
So you were fine. The hunger you had subsided. It was okay, and then it came back.
Yeah,
So what are you eating right now?
like just like I told you this morning,
Yeah.
I'm eating like the normal food, but I'm just craving like dates and nuts all the time. Like I'm obviously craving something that's sweeter than dates, but like this is the healthiest option.
Yeah.
So I'm having dates. And it's like every time I eat, it's like, okay, when am I gonna eat next? Like,
Mm,
and then I'm like I have lunch and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a date now because I really need something that's sweet. So I'm just confused. I don't know.
mm. I want you to look at the chart I'm going to put tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Which differentiates between physical hunger and emotional hunger. So let's just get super clear on which one it is for now, okay? From the things you told me today, like I said, it feels like there's stress in there. It feels like in general, you're always trying to be busy. And one of the ways we stay busy is just to keep our mouths busy also, right? So
Yeah.
I just saw your last answer when I said, what would happen if you stayed still? And you said, I'm gonna have to get up and do something. So why can't you stay still?
Um, I don't know. I think I'm used to being busy all the time, whether it's at work or I have any errands to do or whatever. So like I'm always doing something. Like even if I'm sitting at home, I'm always doing something.
So my question is, why don't you just not do something for a change and see how that feels?
Uh, I could, yeah, I could try this.
I mean, this is an important experiment for you because um, food is only one way that we distract ourselves from uncomfortable emotions or something we don't want to face. Food is just one distraction. There's food, there's alcohol, there's drugs, there's social media, there's over socializing, constantly keeping yourself busy with like whether it's like the same things you're describing. So at some point you have to try and understand why you're doing this, right? So sitting still forces you to get rid of the distractions, whether that's eating the dates constantly, whether that's running an errand, whether that's just being busy for the sake of being busy. So sitting still will at least help the if it's there, an uncomfortable emotion to bubble up because you're not busy distracting it. So sit with it. And I would say every day sit with it. It's not going to happen from sitting on the couch by yourself without a phone, without anything. Just sit still and do this every day for at least half an hour and see what happens. Because there's something there that's going on. My gut feeling is saying something is going on that you're just constantly trying to cover up. Something you don't want to, a discomfort. We know that emotions can be uncomfortable and they can cause a discomfort that we don't want to have to deal with. So we find all sorts of ways to not have to deal with it. So my recommendation for you would be a couple of things. And what you could do in that time that you're sitting alone, definitely you could do a thought model, right? Because all sorts of things would be going through your mind and you can't get up and do anything because then that defeats the purpose. So you could use that time to sit still, quietly, with your thoughts and feelings and do a thought model. Because in and of itself, eating the dates is not a big deal. If you feel like you need to eat a date, eat the dates. So that's not an issue. But we want to understand why this is happening. All right?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, Sally, can I prepare the celery and smoothie at night and keep it in a closed metal bottle till morning? Yes. Hind, I repeated the deep detox 3 times, but never cleaned 8 except the first time. Is that okay? Okay, so you're skipping the first 3 days. You just do the 6 days over and over and over again. Yes, that's okay.
Yeah.
So if we are in the clean eating phase, can we have the vitamins we used to have before the detox, like omega and vitamin D? I need to see those, Inji, if I haven't seen them already. Omegas, I'm wary of omegas that are animal-based. Because remember, there's a fine line again. So you can find, if you can find a vegan option of omegas, then that would be great. And vitamin D, like I said, vitamin D, if you haven't done it yet, I know the weather's getting crazy cold. Like just as I gave the recommendation, the weather got worse. But sunshine is your first way to get unadulterated, pure vitamin D.
It's just that I don't live in Egypt and where I live doesn't have sun. So, and it's for like months without sun, It's
Okay.
always dark. So that's why I usually have vitamin D all the time.
Yeah.
So, but in that case, I'm just asking, I will show you the
Yeah, show me.
vitamins, but it's just as a rule, can we just keep having them or
Yes.
is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Bring them back in. Yes. Nariman, I usually just eat the apples and dates, banana after 7. But twice this week I wasn't home until 8:30 and I started eating then veggies and animal protein. Oh, okay. So that's just a scheduling thing. Okay. So you're mindful of it. So when you start to tell yourself why something happened, right? This is becoming more mindful of it, you lose the guilt. Okay. You're not going out and, you're not coming home and eating something that you know is going to be not optimally healthy for you. You are still disciplined and dedicated to the plan and following the plan. Because life happens, we're not, there's going to be things, there's going to be events. We're not always going to have dinner by 7 p.m. every single day for the rest of our lives. So this is what it means, like to lose this is the type of restriction now you're placing on yourself. So lose the restriction, right? You're still filling your body with healthy foods, healing foods. Your body's getting on board with the process. Your body's it develops great memory of your habits and your lifestyle, and the body will manage that. So there's no reason for you to feel guilty about this at all. And at the end of the day, you're having apples and dates and bananas. The most non-aggressive, non-antagonistic foods to the body that you could ever have. Mona, with cold weather, can I have soup every day instead of the smoothie? Yes, Yes, you can for breakfast. You do have cold weather options, ladies, in your eating schedule. The very end, there's like one page that says cold weather options for when it gets cold. What can you substitute? So you can have vegetable broth, you can have soup in the morning instead of your smoothie, 100%. Yes. And what other hot substitutes for breakfast? Yeah, and if you're doing hybrid or you're doing clean eating, you can do the potatoes for breakfast also. If you look in the hybrid document, I think you have 2 different potato recipes that you can have for breakfast. Nariman, I have the same problem like Habiba. The first 9 days, I had no cravings to sweets. Dates were enough for me. So what you're saying now, Nariman, is that you do have the cravings now and dates aren't enough? Can we prepare a big amount of the coconut oil mixed with lavender and peppermint in a jar and use one? Yes, you can definitely do that. Marim, does date make us put on weight? No, not a single fruit ever. No dates, not grapes, not mangoes, not watermelons, or any of the fruits that you might have been told cause weight gain. Nobody ever gains weight because they overate fruits. You gain weight from a liver that's overburdened and can't filter and can't process properly. And that happens from too many processed foods, processed sugars, junk, caffeine, happens from medication that overloads the liver. It happens from too many fats and too much animal protein. That's what all clogs the liver so it can't filter, not fruits. What do you think of fennel seeds and fenugreek grain as drinks? Yes, those are great. Very, very great digestive aids. Neriman, sir, I missed what you said about omega-3. Take it if it's a vegan version, not an animal based version, because you need to be careful with things like collagen, things like omega. You don't know the source of the animal protein so far, or the omega, where they're getting it from. And then on top of that, if you're eating animal protein from nature, you're eating a regular amount during the day that works for you, we know that animal protein is on the acidic side, right? And too much animal protein fuels cancer growth. So when you are consistently then taking in another form of animal, whether through collagen or omega, that might be a tipping point. So if you're going to take those, take the vegan versions. Maria, then if I want to have potatoes for breakfast in the hybrid eating, that would be instead of the smoothie or after the smoothie? Instead of the smoothie. So the smoothie is a full meal. So celery and lemon are not a meal. They're sort of just prepping your body, prepping your liver for what's coming next. So you do lemon, celery, and then either a smoothie or a soup, if you want a soup in this cold weather, or a potato breakfast. During this clean eating cycle, I was craving biscuits. So the other thing then, ladies, to look at is, are you ovulating? Because ovulation is a time when our hormones shift and it could cause cravings. So anytime from like your mid-cycle, so not just a few days before your cycle, anytime from your mid-cycle, or if you happen to know when you ovulate, all the way to your first day of menstruation, you have a big window of hormonal shifts that might cause cravings. So you also need to be aware of that. Where are you in your cycle? Did it happen on a day where perhaps you didn't get enough sleep, or you didn't work out, or it was stressful, or you stayed at work longer than usual, or you had more things to do than usual? So you need to also start looking at the other pieces of your food, your primary foods, different ones, where you might be craving something to plug in a hole that is not being fulfilled in your primary foods. Mona, can I take activated charcoal when I feel bloated? No. When you're bloated, any of you, in the moment of feeling bloated or at the end of the day, massage castor oil, a good amount of castor oil all over your abdominal area, all the way from right under your breasts, all the way down to your pelvic area, around to where your kidneys are. You can do this and sleep with it. Put on a t-shirt that you don't care if it's going to get stained with oil. Like I have 2 t-shirts that are my castor oil t-shirts that I sleep with. Stick it down and sleep with it, and the bloating will be relieved the next day. You could also do this on the spot if you're able to. If you're not able to, like if you're at work or something, then I would recommend drinking some lemon water like 30 to 40 minutes after the meal will also help with this. The vegan option is typically made of like seaweed, marine algae. They take the omega-3s from that versus taking it from an animal. What source brand of sardines are clean? I have no idea. I don't eat sardines, so I don't know. The thing you'd have to look for, Neriman, is the kind of oil they're in, and that should be on the can. So if they're in sunflower oil, it's not ideal. If they're in olive oil, that's great. If they're in, I don't know if they're ever in water, that's also great. If they're in sunflower oil, you will have to rinse it off. That's the problem with it, the oil that they're in. Hind. I have a concern about canned fish because I know that anything with a shelf life contains preservatives. I mean, we know that, right? We know that. Anything. But again, what you're doing is you don't want to be, especially if it's something you enjoy eating, right? You don't want to become so afraid of everything out there because if you are, you're not going to eat anything. If we're literally to look at every food product available to us today, and if we're going to nitpick, we're not going to eat anything. So it is about having the overall picture, right? And you are most of the time eating clean, organic, healthy, optimal foods most of the time. So canned fish, I mean, obviously your option for eating tuna would be for you to get a fresh tuna steak. It's not going to taste like a canned tuna, but that would be the other option for that. But if you are choosing something canned, then always what we say is make sure you choose the best of whatever it is that you want to get. So the best version of it. So the one that's in olive oil, the one that's in brine, not the one that's in sunflower oil. Always up level the grade of whatever it is you're buying that you think or feel is not optimally healthy for you. Will we have a different plan for Ramadan? Yes. So what is today? Ramadan is so soon. So yeah, in about 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, I will share the Ramadan eating plan with you, those of you who observe Ramadan. Those of you who don't, you're just going to have different recipes. In Ramadan, we have a special class on this also coming up. I'll talk about it in detail. But you will have several options in Ramadan how you want to do it. You will have a different eating plan if you choose to follow it. I wash the canned tuna before eating. Is this okay? Yes, it is. If it's in olive oil, I mean, the biggest worry also is the oil. So if it's in olive oil, you probably don't have to do that. If it's in sunflower oil, then yes. And brine is fine. Yes. Inji, only for the past 3 days that I feel that my vision has improved, especially in the morning. I used to wake up blurry. This is amazing. You're the second client I've had who's noticed this. I don't know if there was a client of mine, she's been doing my program for she's been repeating it like 4 or 5 times. And then pure coincidence, she was getting a checkup at her eye doctor. And he's like, did you do a laser? Did you do a laser surgery on your eyes? And she said no, because he measures obviously something, and he told her both eyes have improved. So your eyes are just like any other organ, ladies, right? They're made up of all the cells, and the cells are either being nourished or not. They're either deficient or not. They're either full of toxins or not. Every single organ in your body functions in exactly the same way. So Inji had no intention of improving her eyesight, right? So this is also what we mean when we say, when the body heals one thing, it has to heal any other imbalance in the body, whether that's something that you are intending to heal or not. So that's amazing. Mabruk. Congratulations. Yes. Hind, you said barley is toxic. Does that mean even barley seeds when boiled in water So barley contains gluten. So the three main grains that contain gluten are wheat, barley, and rye. This is why. And then the other issues with these grains, wheat and barley, not sure about rye, is that they're sprayed with something called glyphosate. I can never pronounce these words. So there's two issues with it: the inherent gluten, and that it's sprayed with a highly toxic carcinogenic. It's either a pesticide or an herbicide. I'm not sure which one of those. So that's the problem with those. So yeah, if you're boiling it, you're boiling all of that into the water that you drink, I'm guessing. So I wouldn't do kidney cleansing with barley at all. Kidney cleansing is fruits, vegetables, grapes. Like if you feel like your kidneys need a push, it's always grapes and melons. So for kidneys, grapes, melons, and any of the purple, like dark fruits and vegetables. So beets, grapes, melons, dates, plums, any of those colored fruits and vegetables, those are the ones that are great for kidney cleansing. An easy way to support kidney cleansing is to have a glass of fresh red grape juice every single day on top of what you're doing. Reem, do I need to test my cholesterol now or wait till the end of the program because I have high cholesterol? I would wait till the end. Wait till the end, Reem. Yeah. Is there any form for non-toxic cheese? So all cheese is dairy, okay, which means, and dairy can be inflammatory, and especially for women when we're talking breast cancer, fibroids, any of that, dairy is one of the big ones. But again, there are categories of dairy. So the worst dairy is going to be sort of like the American processed dairy, like Singles, Kraft, Single. That's not even cheese, right? It doesn't even have milk in it, right? They found that it's just completely created in a lab. The more raw and unpasteurized a cheese is, so if you're looking at really high quality Italian cheeses, French, the raw ones, the stinky ones, right? Blue cheese, things like that. Those are the ones that are the better quality, believe it or not. So those are the ones that if we're going to say they're less toxic, you would look at the ones that are smelly and rotten and less and not pasteurized, not processed. So that would be like Parmesan cheese is one like that. Blue cheese is one like that. Brie is another one like that. Which ones? And they're not the ones that you would eat every day anyway, right? But it's those. Goat and sheep cheese. So the goat cheese is the one is made from obviously goat's milk, and goat's milk is closest to human milk than cow's milk. So that would also be better on your digestion. Your body will recognize cheese made from goat's milk. I'm not sure about sheep. I need to check on sheep, but I think also sheep. Your body will recognize that more easily than anything made with cow's milk. So let's put it that way. Because there's, milk is like, there's different compositions. And so they found that goats is the closest thing to human milk, closest thing to a mother's milk. So if you choose to have cheese, yes, that would be the better option. Doesn't mean you go and have it every day. Still dairy. Still inflammatory. Anybody else today, ladies? All right. Tomorrow's chart is an important one. So if there's anything that you should be saving from the group, the chart on physical versus emotional hunger that's going to be posted tomorrow is one of those. I would also start saving the post that started this morning, the journal post, because you might not feel inclined to think about a post today. But, then maybe next week, think, oh, there was a post last week that I kind of applies to what I'm going through today, but you won't have it. You don't want to scroll all the way down. So I recommend that the journal posts I'm posting starting today, you start copy pasting them into a separate document to save them. You also, if you haven't done so already, make sure you're going back to rewatch the classes from the beginning. And if you've missed anything, make sure to go back and watch those as well. You have, even when the program is finished, you're going to have access to these all the time. But because you're going to go back and watch them with a different angle, you've gone through the process now, you're going to look at it with a fresh, pair of eyes. So you might have different questions. You want to make sure that you're watching them so that if you have a question, then you have the chance while we're together in the program to get your questions answered. All right. All right, ladies, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all again on Tuesday, inshallah, same time, same place. Good night, ladies.